Commemorating the 70th anniversary of the famed British North Greenland Expedition that saw Commander James Simpson lead a daring crew of scientists into the desolate subarctic, the new Tudor Ranger pays homage to the spirit of exploration, with an improved caliber and a cleaner design. Besides carrying out standard observations and studies, the expedition's military scientists traveled with a new automatic reference, the Tudor Oyster Prince. Tudor tasked the researchers with garnering data on the watch's performance in the immensely challenging and unforgiving conditions for which the rugged prototypes were specifically created to withstand. In the decade to follow, the Geneva-based watchmaker applied the results of the near 2-year excursion to craft the Tudor Oyster Prince Ranger, a true tool watch with impressive utility backed up by the most demanding field tests. Since then, the Ranger has seen a few iterations, namely the contended Tudor Heritage Ranger, leading to this July 2022 re-release. Right off the bat, the 2022 Tudor Ranger feels wholly more true to its roots than the 2014 revamp. It's all around smaller, minimizes dial clutter, and simplifies the case profile. As a result, the overall silhouette looks sleek, streamlined, more form-fitting, and somehow even a bit tougher. At a current MSRP of $3,150, let's dive into our hands-on review of the 2022 Tudor Ranger, where we highlight the specifications, provide our subjective thoughts, and discuss who this iconic tool watch might be for. The new Tudor Ranger's older sibling, the Tudor Heritage Ranger, shares a lot of the same DNA with its successor, so you'd be safe evaluating the new Ranger as an evolution of the 2014 Heritage, or simply against the original 60s references, or even as a more cost-effective alternative to the ever-inflating Rolex Explorer by Tudor's sister brand. By any metrics, the new release sports a 39mm full 316L stainless steel case with multi-directional brush finishing across the sides, chamfered edges, and the lugs, and a thin strip of high polish at the base of the thin sloping bezel. If this is your first stop during your own Ranger research expedition, the case is now 2mm smaller, down from the 2014's 41mm, sizing down for a more accessible wrist presence, with a lug-to-lug of 48mm. We'd wager this is probably Tudor's most popular case size, and seeing the success of the 39mm Black Bay 58, we'd also wager Tudor kept this in mind when finalizing the new Ranger's dimensions. Boasting a thickness of 12mm, the Ranger's case features a heavy-duty dome sapphire crystal that slopes congruently to match the angle of the fixed steel bezel. Also decorating the case is a Tudor rose logoed screw-down crown that affords a modest 100 meters of water resistance. Aesthetically, if you're already a fan of the Tudor Ranger, chances are you're also inclined toward the everyday fan favorite Zinn 556i or 856, the illustrious Rolex Explorer, or even one of Tudor's own Black Bays. The Explorer itself, released in the early 50s, was rumored to serve as direct inspiration for the Tudor Ranger of the 60s, and that's truly evidenced in the case itself, reflecting a sporty aesthetic with clean lines for a thoroughly straightforward presentation. We could also see utility baked into the flat brushing itself. Just imagine the corneal damage of the reflected sun in a bright, snowy landscape had Tudor chosen to outfit the original Ranger case, and thus the new release, with a mirror polish. Although satinized, it's not matte by any means either, allowing light to dance across the surface when on the wrist. The Rolex inspiration didn't stop with the case, however, as the dial of the 2022 Tudor Ranger employs the same bold cardinal Arabic numerals along with rectangular loomed indices filling the gaps. Unlike the Explorer, however, the applied markers and numerals remain flat and unframed, giving the Ranger's dial far less vertical dimension than the sister brand's direct influence. You'll quickly notice that the dial details are also applied with an off-white near light yellow lume that glows predictably yellow-green, yet another deviation from its influences. Tudor also agreed that the Heritage Ranger's dial would serve as a template for the re-release, with a few minor tweaks that largely stays loyal to the original mid-century design. One, a tighter overall dial composition made possible in part by the 2mm case reduction from 41mm to 39mm. The iconic shield logo takes the place of the Tudor Rose above the Tudor Geneve text under the 12, like the Oyster Prince Ranger, and Ranger replaces rotor self-winding above the 6, another original nod. And the second's hand is red-tipped over a full end-to-end red finish. As we mentioned with the case finishing, the dial details are nearly void of anything reflective, a matte dial background with unframed indices or numerals. What is polished, the inset hour and minute hands, is sparse, giving the Ranger enough class, providing just the right balance to its utility-first features. For someone who's looking for a more rugged, approachable sports watch, the matte details can go a long way here. Powering the Ranger, the manufacturer Caliber MT5402, a COSC self-winding mechanical movement, uses a bidirectional rotor system to keep the Ranger up to speed, allowing for an impressive 70 hours of power reserve. Thanks to Tudor's relationship with older sibling Rolex, in-house calibers are now fully possible with Tudor, integrating many of their own into subsequent releases, the Tudor Ranger serving as a perfect example. In 2014, Tudor equipped the Tudor Heritage Ranger with their own modified ETA 2824, customized enough to take the watchmaker's name as the Tudor 2824. The shift between the modified ETA Tudor 2824 of the Heritage and the MT 5402 of the Ranger in less than 10 years illustrates just how much progress Tudor's made to move operations in-house. Packing in near double the power reserve and a chronometer certified caliber into the new Ranger, all in a smaller 39mm profile, is certainly a trio appealing to many enthusiasts who may have been hesitant with the Ranger's previous iteration. Not to mention, it's less than half the price of the Rolex Explorer, with a similar self-winding mechanical movement, a shared COSC rating, and an equal 70-hour power reserve. Tudor currently offers 3 options for securing the Ranger on the wrist: a 3-link satin finish stainless steel bracelet, a leather rubber hybrid strap, and a striped woven fabric strap. It does maintain a standard 20mm lug width for convenient swaps, but we'd highly recommend sticking with the full stainless steel bracelet, and here's why. Comfort. On wrist, even within a few minutes, the new Ranger's 3-link design sports rounded edges, produces no noise, and uses a T-fit push clasp for honing in micro adjustments or to accommodate wrist size fluctuations throughout the day, which is a feature alone worth the bracelet's consideration. Trust us. Style. As the option most closely related to its contemporaries, the vertically brushed stainless steel bracelet is probably the most versatile choice. The satin finishing grounds the Ranger enough for everyday wear, while providing enough sophistication through its refinement for a work function or a night out on the town. What's more, if you look closely at the Heritage Ranger and the 2022 Ranger, you'll notice that the latest version sports integrated end links that allow the bracelet to seamlessly connect to the case without any gaps or spaces. A small but important construction cue true to the 60s reference. So now that you're fully caught up to speed, who's the Tudor Ranger for? Well, forgive us, but we'd be comfortable in saying that the Ranger is sure to impress just about everyone who wears it. At the end of the day, if you're in the market for a sporty watch like the Explorer with rugged features, and only have a few $1,000s to spend, especially if your day-to-day necessitates an accurate movement with an impressive no-fuss reserve, the new 2022 Ranger is probably the watch for you. What's more, it's backed up by rich history with a cool factor hard to ignore. Few sports watches with an Expedition slant can say that their watch's original framework was tested hands-on in one of the world's most compromising landscapes, but the Ranger can.